before we get to all the hate, I just want to play, because it had not dropped yet when I did this live. I wanted to play a little bit of his acceptance speech. And it was a really beautiful speech that truly centered this, very not me, us feeling, that it was the volunteers, the 50,000 New Yorkers, the people who knocked doors and made sent text messages and made phone calls, who deserve this win, that he is there because of all of you, because of everyone who supported his campaign. And again, just please go back and visit, this is a candidate who came on my show, came on the Bitchuation Room, has made the rounds on progressive media, and has really gone out of his way to do these interviews. And although I didn't secure an AOC interview back in 2018, 2018, when we were doing Newsbroke at AJ Plus, we referenced AOC because it was once again another in the wake of a Donald Trump victory. What is the future of the Democratic Party? Can this Democratic Socialist win? Look at how amazing she is. And she posted on Facebook, she was like, oh my God, those Facebook videos? I'm in one of them. And that was sort of when, Facebook was just starting to do video and sort of the quick whatever's. She didn't even say it's Francesca or it's Newsbrook, whatever, but she has since always remembered me, not enough to come on the show. But you know what I'm saying? A week after she posted that, or whatever it was, 2 weeks after, she's on Colbert. You know what I mean? This is how quick the stardom, when you really have something genuine and truthful and honest and morally righteous behind you. And that, I think, is what the people-powered Zohran Mandani campaign represents.
And I will put your hopes before my own. And I know that those hopes extend beyond our 5 boroughs. There are millions of New Yorkers who have strong feelings about what happens overseas. I am one of them. And while I will not abandon my beliefs or my commitments, grounded in a demand for equality, for humanity, for all those who walk this earth, you have my word to reach further, to understand the perspectives of those with whom I disagree.
So he's kind of just referencing Israel-Palestine right there, because one of the biggest aspects, and Wajahat and I talked about this, if you haven't watched that stream or listened to it, was one of the biggest aspects is him not shrinking from the questions around, on it, real democracy and real international law and the country of Israel. And as irrelevant as it is to who is the next mayor of New York, he also never hedged and never shied away from saying that he believes that Israel should be in accordance with international law, and he believes in democracy for all people in the region. So here he is referencing, look, even if you don't agree with me, I will try hard to understand where you're coming from, even when I disagree with you. And I will try hard to empathize with you.
And to wrestle deeply with those disagreements. Let me close with this. In these dark times, I know that it is harder than ever to keep faith in our democracy. It has been attacked by billionaires and their big spending, by elected officials who care more about self-enrichment than the public trust, and by authoritarian leaders who rule through fear. But above all, our democracy has been attacked from within. For too long, New Yorkers have strained to find a leader who represents us, who puts us first. And we have been betrayed time and again. After so many disappointments, the heart hardens, belief becomes elusive. And when we no longer believe in our democracy, it only becomes easier for people like Donald Trump to convince us of his worth.
Okay, this I think is brilliant. Everyone perk your ears up, pay attention. He is basically saying that the road to fascism is paved with cynicism when politicians cannot deliver, when people lose faith in their elected officials and the system that got them there, when they lose faith that they're being ever listened to, when they lose faith, like when the heart hardens, as he said. This is so pitch perfect, and I wish more Democrats would say things like this.
For billionaires to convince us that they must always lead. As FDR said, democracy has disappeared in several other great nations, not because the people disliked democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and weakness. In desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in the hope of getting something to eat.
Yup. I mean, this is basically right. You are sacrificing your freedoms because you just want someone who seems like they're in control, or they're saying the right things, right? He's saying he's gonna, get us something better than Obamacare because our premiums are so expensive, even though he's not going to do it. And we'll just go with that, and we will throw down with fascism. I mean, again, it is very facile thinking, and it is not rational thinking, but is definitely thinking that is born out of desperation. I think that FDR quote was perfectly placed. Perfect.
New York, if we have made one thing clear over these past months, it is that we need not choose between the two. We can be free and we can be fed. We can demand what we deserve. And together we have built a movement where everyday New Yorkers recognize themselves in our vision of democracy. Every new voter registered, that is faith renewed. Every voter who traveled through withering heat to the polls, that is faith renewed. And every New Yorker who sees solutions to the daily challenges they face in this campaign, that is faith renewed. Together, New York, we have renewed our democracy. We have given our city permission to believe again. And I pledge to you that we will remake this great city, not in my image, but in the image of every New Yorker who has only known struggle. In our New York, the power belongs to the people.
I mean, if that doesn't get you in the feels, I don't know what will. Like, that is so powerful. I mean, and the fact that he also throughout this whole thing, it's like, you go to New York, I lived there for 7 years, you understand what it is. It's nothing but workers. It is workers working around the clock. The city that never sleeps is the city that never stops working, okay? It is constant exploitation wherever you look. And we've normalized the exploitation, right? New Yorkers are told exploitation is a part and parcel of getting to live in the greatest city on earth. Well, no, that's not what's happening. People are being displaced. Workers can no longer afford to live there. They're being priced out, and they're being, over policed left and right. So that does not work anymore, right? And so when you have programs and visions like free universal childcare, when you have free buses to make buses free and a lot faster, when you're talking about city-run grocery stores, so the basic goods that you need are not like, within whatever it is, like a 10-block radius from you, aren't exorbitantly expensive, right? That a city will subsidize that. You can get your eggs, milk, juice, whatever you need at an affordable price, so that Metro cards aren't for one ride, a 3 $3, like, things that are prohibitively expensive for people at the end of the day after they're working long hours. It is a city of exploitation and struggle. And this is a guy who not only was an assemblyman, but also, I love people are talking about like, oh, he doesn't have an experience, but he actually does have a lot of experience when it comes to working with working people, working with taxi cab drivers, right? To make sure that they were made whole, and that their debts, that they weren't in endless amounts of debt. So like, he has a long history, and just like, this is the kind of clarity and vision, and that's what pisses the right off, and that's what pisses Democrats off the most, is that this is someone who is super clear-eyed, and he's got massive support of young people and progressives. And if nothing else, of course, as Brad Lander, who got about 11.5% of the vote, said, it also is a resounding defeat to Cuomo. Or is it?
Andrew Cuomo is in the past. He is not the present or future of New York City. Good riddance.
It's so good. We've had a couple of very choice F-bombs this week, and this was one of them. And it's important to know that Brad Lander campaigned with Mamdani. And, as someone who was afraid of what that might meant, yesterday, Paige and I were talking about, whether or not that would be enough. It seems like Brad Lander campaigning with Mamdani really did help both candidates. And that we're looking at a number 1 and 2 strategy, especially for people who did not rank Cuomo. And the win, again, before we go to Cuomo, I mean, it really spanned the 5 boroughs. The only boroughs that Cuomo won were Staten Island, and not even by less than 10. The Bronx, which people thought would be more of a blowout by a fair amount, but Manhattan, 39 to Mamdani, which is insane. Obviously, Brooklyn by crazy points, 49%. Queens 46%. And then when you get, sort of like, more granular with it, it seems like specifically, and this I think is really important, specifically immigrant communities, South Asian communities, obviously Muslim American communities, like these are the communities that felt seen and heard for the first time, in no small part because not only, honestly, like, I think it's really important to just name, like, Asian voters just aren't spoken to. Like, if you're, or also like other minority groups, it's like, oh, okay, Black, Latino, and that's it, right? That's it. And often, I think, and this is part of the sort of like, assimilationist racist narrative around Asian American immigrants is like, nah, they're not even really part of the political process. They're just kind of there. They're workers. They do this. They got food stop places. They drive cabs. They're not really voters. And it's like, that is such BS. And I think that Mamdani really spoke, and God, you can see some of his ads where, he's speaking in like Dalit and other, like, I don't know all the languages, but like he's speaking like all these, incredible different dialects. And like, it's beautiful. He really made this attempt to reach out to the South Asian community. And, it showed. And the other thing I think to pay attention to, which is really interesting and maybe predictable, but he won squarely with working class people, working middle and upper class people. And this vote by median income is a little bit hard to read. Even, I'm terrible at graphs, but if you look at like, Cuomo is really good with people who are like very poor, do not have, talk about slammed, whatever, like they are squeezed, but he falls out like crazy when it comes to middle income voters. And then the richies love Cuomo, right? But folks in the middle, so you can imagine people who maybe have more of a modest education, people who have some semblance of attempt at upward mobility, people who are trying to make a living or possibly like buy an apartment one day, let alone just stay in their apartments. This is where you're seeing the stronghold. This is the working class or the middle income of New York. And I think that is really, really key when it comes to the kinds of people and who came out, right? And how active and motivated they were. And it also shows you sort of the politics of strongmanship. Who do strongmen appeal to, right? Cuomo. You get the richest and the poorest, the people who are like, I don't know, man, let's throw down with this guy who maybe they're going to give me, some sort of stimulus check, or maybe they're going to, I mean, this is like, again, it's like they don't have the time. Maybe they don't have the education. They're just kind of like, sure, let's throw down with the strong guy. It seems like he knows what he's doing, right? And so again, you sort of see who fascism, authoritarianism, and billionaire-backed politics appeal to, right? And why Trump enjoys a similar demographic, I think. Although I would argue there's a lot of upper middle class people who vote for Trump. We saw that because they all shuttered their personal businesses and then went over to like do a coup on January 6th. But just to say, like, this is such a beautiful coalition that has come together, and I want to give the campaign all of their flowers and really urge everyone to either financially, if you can give $20, or, if you can support in any kind of way moving forward, to support Zohran as you go forward. I mean, and again, this is looking at some of the, like, these strongholds of Michael Lang, who is kind of breaks down some of the stats over here, the voting data in New York. The commie corridor of Ridgewood, Greenpoint, Astoria delivered record numbers from Mamdani. He dominated among Asian voters, Jamaica Hills, Kensington, Woodside. He struggled to bring out Black seniors and was annihilated by young voters. I mean, I'm assuming, Cuomo struggled to bring out Black seniors and was annihilated by young voters. So even the base, even what you assumed, right? And again, Cuomo sort of echoes. I mean, he got the Clyburn endorsement. He got the Clinton endorsement. It feels like the old, like, hey, older Black people, you're going to vote for me, right? Right? Well, why? Why? Literally, why? Why? What has Cuomo done for Black Americans, for Black New Yorkers? What has he delivered for them? He's promising only more cops on the street, right? An over-policed community as the Black New Yorker community. On top, he's presided over rampant gentrification, led to displacement, the rising costs of rent. And so who's going to help you stay in your home, or, help you have a livable wage? It's going to be Zohran. It's going to be someone with more democratic socialist ideas. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.